Welcome back, dear viewers, and you're still watching Cairo Local Time. And in this segment of our program, we are going to talk about the latest developments in the tourism sector as the Tutankhamun Treasures of the Golden Pharaoh exhibition is set to open in Saatchi's gallery in London tomorrow. With the attendance of many visitors. Also, an important event took place in the past days, which is Opera Aida, which took place in Luxor, with attendance also of many tourists after 23 years. And to shed more light on these latest developments, we are joined today by Mrs. Hanan Alem. She's a tour guide. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, Mrs. Hanan, let's start with the Tutankhamun, the Treasures of the Golden Pharaoh exhibition, which is set to open in Saatchi's gallery in London tomorrow. To what extent these kinds of exhibitions promote Egypt abroad?
Actually, it's a great promotion for Egypt.
Yes.
Because Tutankhamun is the most famous pharaoh among all the pharaohs,
yes,
just because of the treasure which was discovered completely. Such events, it brings a lot of attraction to Egyptian tourism, and of course it attracts a lot of tourists to come to visit the origin or the original place which Tutankhamun was discovered.
Do you think it's a good promotion for the Grand Egyptian Museum, which is expected to be inaugurated in 2020? It will encourage more people to come and visit this big museum.
For sure, because
yes,
imagine they took about 150 pieces only,
yes,
from the total treasure, which is 5,000 pieces. So people, they visit the museum and see the 150 pieces. They would like to see and more,
yes,
especially that they kept here the most important pieces that it's not allowed or it's not possible to take it outside, like the golden coffin, like the mummy, like everything.
Yes. To tell our audience more information about Treasures of the Golden Pharaoh exhibition, which is due to be displayed tomorrow in London. We'll have a report on this interesting event. After setting a new record for the most visited cultural exhibition in France with more than 1.4 million visitors, the Tutankhamun Treasures of the Golden Pharaoh exhibition is set to open in Saatchi's gallery in London on the 1st of November. In anticipation of the exhibition, many of London's bridges, main squares, streets, bus and train stations, buildings and shops have been adorned with posters showing the face of the Golden King and some of the artifacts that will be shown at the exhibition. This is the third leg of the worldwide exhibition tour, which will last until 2022. The exhibition's first stop was in Los Angeles and the second was in Paris. Tutankhamun's treasured collection previously visited London twice in 1972, when it attracted more than 1.75 million visitors, and in 2007. According to the exhibition coordinator Tariq Al-Awadi, some 300,000 tickets have been sold so far for the London exhibition. The VIP inauguration of the exhibition will take place on the 1st of November and the public opening will take place the following day. The exhibition is displaying 150 objects from Tutankhamun collection, including a necklace decorated with precious stones, the golden coffin, and a collection of alabaster pots and wooden and gilded statues. Welcome back, dear viewers, and we are still talking about Tutankhamun Treasures of the Pharaohs exhibition. And Mrs. Hanan, after setting a new record for the most visited cultural exhibition in France, do you expect this exhibition to achieve the same success in London? Of course, I
expect this because, you know, French and British, they are the most fascinated nationalities about Egyptian history and Egyptian antiquity. And in London, because Lord Carnarvon, Howard Carter, that they discovered. Lord Carnarvon, he paid for the researching for the treasure, And Howard Carter, who discovered this tomb in 1922, they were British. So they are considered the people who brought these pieces to the world. So I expect, of course, for them to visit it. And British Museum, it's one of the most important museums.
Yes.
If it's not the British themselves, other visitors, they would be in London this time, they would like to go to visit.
So, talking about also an important event which took place in the past days, which is Opera Aida, and this important event which was held recently in Luxor after 22 years. So, to what extent this important event impacted tourism sector?
Actually, I would like that, Ministry of Tourism, they would establish more and more events, such great events, because it attracts a lot of tourists to come to Egypt. Imagine that Opera Aida at Luxor, it had a great success. All the hotels of Luxor, they were fully booked. All the Nile cruises, for many years, it was not fully booked like this. Imagine like 4,000 tourists at Luxor. It's a small city, by the way, but 4,000 in the meantime. So imagine how many persons they were working because of this, and it would attract attention to the other parts of Egypt concerning tourism. We would like to have more events like this.
So, do you think that we need to promote more for cultural tourism in Egypt, as I think that many tourists are interested in this
We need
field.
to do this, actually,
Because we have many excavations, many
imagine
discoveries.
Luxor, Luxor only, it has 1/3 of the monuments of the whole world.
Yes.
Imagine that the other things that you have. A country like Egypt, it has Red Sea, Mediterranean Sea, and you have the pyramids, and you have Luxor, you have religious monument, places to visit. The Holy Family, they passed by here, Moses passed by here. So imagine the quantities of places and monuments and valuable areas, and we are not taking advantage of this. So as much as we have more events, as much as we are going to have tourists.
So, Mrs. Hanan, also an important thing happened in the past days, which is expected to affect the flow of European tourists to the Red Sea, which is the resumption of flights to the Red Sea of Sharm el-Sheikh and to the Red Sea resorts of Sharm el-Sheikh to tourists coming from the United Kingdom. So, tell us more about this, and to what extent also it will help in sending positive messages to the whole world about the situation here in Egypt.
Of course, because such a decision, it means that we are returning back to Egypt. What does it mean that we are returning back to Egypt? We are returning because it's a peaceful place. So it's safe, it's secure. That's why they return back. So it's give a nice and good implement about security in Egypt.
Also, Mrs. Hanan, preparations for the winter season are underway now, and what are your expectations for this season? Do you expect more reservations? How do you see the situation now?
Okay, I see it from the actual case that we have now. I myself, I have a lot of requests from many agencies.
Yes.
And this is a good sign. I am personally, I work with the Portuguese language, so I see, for instance, in November.
But it's a very rare language. Why do you choose to work with Portuguese?
I was the first Egyptian guide speaking Portuguese in 1989.
Yes.
I didn't choose it. I was working in a Portuguese company in my area in Maadi while I was studying at the university. I learned it by chance. And I discovered
it's different from Spanish, I think.
It's more archaic. It's older than Spanish, but it's similar. Spanish, they don't understand it, but Portuguese, they can understand Spanish.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for instance, in my agency, we have like 30 groups in November. So could you imagine?
30 groups from
30
Portugal?
Groups in November only.
Coming from Portugal? Or
from Brazil. Portuguese, Portugal and Brazil, they speak Portuguese.
It's very good thing that we have people coming from South America. Yes. And this is a new market for Egypt, right?
We work with special groups. They are religious groups.
Yes.
Religious groups, they come
For
because-
religious tourism.
Yes.
Mainly.
So Brazil, most of the tourists, they come from Brazil. They come because they come to go to Sinai, to St. Catherine,
Yes.
to stop in the same areas.
The Holy
where
Family.
Not the Holy Land. The Moses
Family.
and his
And
people
Moses.
did when they crossed the Red Sea. So this is evangelic. It's older. So there's the Old Testimony. So we do the same trip. We stop where the places, it's supposed that Moses and his...
So you start from Cairo, or you start from...
We start from Cairo.
You
and
take
we
them-
go through Sinai. We cross the tunnel of Ahmed Hamdi.
Yes.
And then we have the first stop, which is Ayoum Musa.
Yes.
And they stop, they pray over there. Then we continue the trip and we pass by other places. Then they go to St. Catherine because this is the place where the Moses mountain,
Yes.
where Moses talked to God.
Yes.
So it's also valuable for them as it's valuable for us. So such a kind of tourism, it's continuous. Sometimes it's
This
not
is a
affected
different
by the
religious,
events.
yes, religious tourism here in Egypt is very diverse. Now
Yes.
we have people coming from Rome, from the Catholic Church to see the
Because lately the
route
Pope, he
of the
permitted-
Holy Family here in
Yes,
Egypt. And now we
the
have
trip of
people
the Holy
coming
Family.
from Brazil to see the mountain where Moses talks to God.
Because these are the evangelic.
Yes.
Evangelic, they use, or
They're not Jews, they are
Not
Christian
Jews, but
evangelicals.
they follow more the Old
Yes.
Testimony of the Bible.
Yes,
Okay,
so
the
they
story
come
of
to
Moses.
visit Sinai.
Exactly. This is a good
You
kind
said
of...
how many groups coming?
No, I mean in one agency, there are 30 groups in one agency.
This is
Imagine
great.
the other agencies.
Yes.
So most of the guides now, they are working, all of them, the Brazilian guides
yes.
or accompanying Brazil groups, so they are working. This is only one language. Imagine Spanish language, imagine English, French, and other languages. So they started now. I see all my colleagues, actually we had a very hard time. So lately I started to see everybody is working.
So if we talk about Brazil, then we say that they are more interested in religious tourism, right?
Exactly, yes.
What about Portugal? You said that you are also interested in working with Portuguese.
No, Portugal, since
what
they
kind
are,
of tourism attract?
No, they come for classic tours. Classic tours, it means Nile cruises, a 2-full-day Cairo, like visiting the pyramids, the museum, and so on.
Yes. So tell me more about the recent excavations here in Egypt. And we, the past few days also, we saw the excavations of a major coffins for...
Discovered by Dr. Zeha.
Yes, it was a big event.
Yeah.
To what extent these excavations also are important in promoting for Egypt? How can we use these to promote for Egypt?
Actually, you know, when we announced about this discovery by Dr. Zahi Hawass, and of course Dr. Zahi Hawass is very famous,
Yes.
so this is attracted attention. And you have to know that most of the excavations, they were concentrated in Luxor, because Luxor actually, in every area, whenever you just excavate, you find something. But they need to do more excavations in other areas, like the area of Tanis or in Delta, because this was the capital of Ramses II. Actually, they didn't discover everything. So they had to have more excavation in this place. And also returning to religious groups, evangelic, for them, they believe that the sons of Israel, they were used as slaves in building the capital of Ramesses II.
So it's an important
so if
area.
we start also from there, new discoveries, and having other areas over there to visit, so these groups, they would be interested to have more time in Egypt, because actually our luck, we have only 2 days in Cairo, and then they go to St. Catherine, but they spent in Israel 8 days. But if we have such area, where is the place they believe that the sons of Israel, they were building the capital of Ramesses II,
Yes.
we can promote it this way.
Put it on the tourism
and we have
map
more days.
in Egypt.
And this could also bring an income for the area itself and the people over there, and give
Yes.
more opportunities for work in this area.
Yes. So, Mrs. Hanan, tell me more about the challenges that still face tourism sector, or do you think that we are doing good job and challenges are diminishing?
Of course, challenges that, you know, any single event or incident, it happens here, it could affect you or affect the whole country.
Yes.
So that's why I believe that more events, like, for instance, if you compare ourselves, for instance, with Dubai, they have nothing.
Yes.
But what they do, they bring a show from Disney, they bring a cultural exhibition.
Like yes.
So if we have such events, we invite famous celebrities, like we did, for instance, the North Coast. If we have these shows from Disneyland and we promote it, it could bring more attraction. It shows that we have security. We are a safe place.
So also the Minister of Tourism, Rania Al-Mashat, has participated recently in the Tourism Expo Japan 2019 held in Osaka. So yeah, what is the importance of participating in such events and promoting Egypt in Japan and the Far East?
Okay, it's very important because
Yes.
she will show that what new that we have, what are what the plans she is planning for the future, what demands they have, so we can arrange it for them. What guarantee can we give them? Because Japanese, it was affected lately since 22 years ago, since the incident of Hatshepsut.
Yes, actually, she said that the number of Japanese tourists to Cairo increased by 38.2% during the first 9 months of 2019 in comparison to the same period of 2018. So what kind of tourism attracts Japanese tourists?
It's the classic and the more
Yes.
cultural, you know. So it's not religious, it's not for fun,
Yes.
but they come mostly to visit the museums. They do the tour, the Nile cruises.
Yes.
So this would be very important for them.
Okay, talking back about King Tut and his artifacts, to what extent his booth or his department in the Grand Egyptian Museum will be more attractive to tourists, as they said that they will close a whole area for King tomb artifacts and...
You see, Tutankhamun as a pharaoh,
Yes.
he was a young pharaoh.
Yes.
So he was not such an important pharaoh, but he became the most famous pharaoh because
Yes.
of his treasure. Why? Because it was discovered complete.
Yes.
So it was not stolen like the others. So that's why if you visit the department or the section of King Tut, so you have an idea about the treasures of the other pharaohs. If this is a treasure of a young pharaoh was not such important, could you imagine how could it be a treasure of other pharaohs such Ramesses II, who ruled for 67 years? So this is of course a great thing, and it's a very important place to visit. They have everything, the personal stuff of the king, his sandals, and sometimes I joke with Brazilians because they have a kind of sandals very famous in Brazil.
Yes.
It's called the baianas. So I tell them the origin is from here, and
Yeah.
they see it. You know, they see the
comes from-
sandals of the pharaoh,
Yes.
and they look very modern. So all of these things, it shows the greatness of this civilization and how they were pioneers in everything.
I think King Tut will attract the attention of all tourists
He
in
always
the Grand
attracts
Egyptian
attention.
Museum.
It's the most famous name because they don't know other pharaohs, because they didn't see other treasures. They saw only, everybody is talking about King Tut, the young pharaoh, and his treasure. Everything, all his pieces, his golden coffin. The coffin is 110 kilograms of pure gold.
Wow,
And
110?
he was not such a great pharaoh. And his golden mask is 11 kilograms.
Wow.
Pure, you know, gold. So imagine, and his jewelries, his clothes,
all these
everything,
stuff
all
were
this
discovered with him.
It's 5,000 pieces was discovered in his little tomb in Valley of the King at Luxor.
5,000 pieces.
5,000 pieces.
And he was still so young.
He was young. He died like 18 years old.
And he had all these stuff
Could
with
you
him.
imagine other
Yeah.
pharaohs like Ramesses II, 67 years, and all his treasure, his personal stuff? How could it be such a great thing? But unfortunately, it was stolen. We
Yes.
have only from Ramesses his statues, his temples, his monuments.
So also, Ms. Hanan would like to talk about Egypt and how can we improve our services and make it more easy for tourists when they come to Egypt.
A lot of things, a lot of
Yes.
things. And the first thing, is the people that they are working at the touristic area, I mean the simple people,
Yes.
to evaluate how they should treat the tourists, because according to the way you are treating the tourist, he will come back.
Yes.
But if you treat
But
him,
we are very hospitable.
yes,
people,
Egyptian generally.
and we have this initiative by the Ministry of
no,
Tourism,
but there
people
are
to
some
people.
certain people that they would like to, to benefit.
Yes, yes.
So they treat it in a bad
But
way.
this is everywhere. In every country, every touristic country, we have these
no,
street
but
vendors.
We have certain areas. It's very it's very hectic.
Yes.
It turns the tourist to be very annoyed. If you are just to take a picture and you cannot take a picture because there is a person behind you
Yes.
or around you trying
Okay.
to sell you something, or
Yes.
trying to take the camera to take your picture.
Okay.
I want them just to feel that this is their business as well. So they have to deal it in another way. They have to deal with the tourist in another way, so he can come back and feel that
We
he's
have
safe.
also this initiative I was telling you about, the people-to-people initiative launched by the Ministry of Tourism, which is focusing only on how Egyptian people are always welcoming to tourists,
Yes, of
and
course,
friendly
because
people.
we are very friendly.
Yes.
Wherever you go, they are very friendly. But we have to take advantage of a lot of things that we have here.
Yes.
It's not only the way or the hospitable way that we are going to receive the tourists. We have also a lack, and maybe Mrs. Rania Nashat, she started this time. But before, we have a lack of promotion. The way of promotion still needs to be improved.
Yes.
We have to be advanced.
Maybe this is
We
her
have to
plan
use
in the
new
current period.
techniques, okay?
Maybe this
new
is her plan.
techniques.
Yeah.
We don't follow the old techniques. No, we have to improve ourselves.
Maybe when we open the Grand Egyptian Museum, the whole area, Saqqara area, and the whole area of the pyramids will be renovated. And
Hope so. We are waiting for this.
And we have this new
We are
airport.
waiting for this. Hopefully.
Yes, everything will be more
Because
organized.
they said everything is
Yes.
organization.
Yes,
If
it
we
will
have
be more
organization,
organized.
everything is organized and disciplined, this will be great. People, they would like to come more and more and more. But if it is with a little bit of chaos like we have now, no.
Yes.
So I heard about what is gonna be in this area. So we are waiting for this.
It will be great, yes. As
It will
I've
be great
just heard,
because they are going to change everything.
entertaining area and
Yes.
hotels, airport, everything will be easy for the tourist when he comes
And such
to
a
the
great
pyramids.
museum, it will not be enough one visit to visit. So people, they would like to sit maybe more time or more days to return and visit the rest of the museum.
Yes.
It could be good also.
Yes. So finally, I'd like to thank you, Mrs. Hanan Alam, tour guide. Thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of Cairo Local Time. I'm Shina Adel signing off.